And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, all about helping you understand your buying decisions, making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors, our videos, previous shows, and a wealth of information. Again, the show is all about local area business owners, expert contributors, attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, all types of great companies that come into the program here, come into the studio. We talk about things happening in the market. We talk about real estate, credit, finance, estate, and tax planning. And we got a great lineup for you today here on the show as well. We're going to have Nick Shriver from Decorating Elves on the program. John Long's in the house as well, United States Institute Against Human Trafficking. And we've got attorney Frank Miranda in the house as well, fcmlaw.com, local real estate attorney and title company here in Tampa Bay. Going to dive a little bit into some of the development opportunities out there as well, and how do you think about master plans for communities and rezoning opportunities and some of these land development deals. Kind of an interesting topic to think about, and how does affordable housing fit into that, and taxes and fire, police, all that infrastructure that needs to be in place for that as well. So before we do, I want to touch on just a couple of our hot listings. We've got some great opportunities here in beautiful Tampa Bay. 2 Oak Avenue in Palm Harbor. This is a beautiful waterfront, canal front home on Lake Tarpon. So you could boat to dinner, boat to lunch over at the Tarpon Turtle and enjoy the Florida lifestyle at its best. You got a beautiful property, completely renovated, updated, fireplace in the kitchen, or in the living room rather, updated kitchen, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2-car garage, 1,500 square feet on the canal with lake access right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Also, 6806 Pearson Avenue. This is a property that we've got in Wesley Chapel. If you're looking for that rural lifestyle, this is acreage on some land here, acreage at 6 acres in Wesley Chapel, 1,700 plus square foot, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, right here in Tampa Bay, no HOA as well. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Frank Miranda back in studio. Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year. Great to see you.
Yes, sir. All right, good stuff. Thanks for coming in, and want to jump right into it. I've got a property. I thought I'd just kind of throw out like an example of a property that I've got listed under contract now. So I've got a 30-acre parcel of land, $2.75 million in Hudson. It's on New York Avenue. Great opportunity. The buyer's coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to develop this place. I'm going to put up to, I think it's 300 townhomes or something along those lines. A lot of money to be made, a lot of considerations. It's a long road as well. It's going to take probably 6 to 8 months to get that deal done, right? A development deal takes a while. So the owners have to be, willing to kind of wait and see what happens with the rezoning. And so talk to me about that. I mean, with your real estate, career, your background in law, real estate law, what have you seen in terms of like these master plans and rezoning and just going through that process?
That's a great example. Okay, so what I'll say is from the developer's aspect, there's risk involved, right? You have the great unknown. You have whether or not the property is going to get approved the way you want it drawn up. Typically speaking, these developers have their own engineers in place, structural engineers, all different types of engineers, where they're going to lay out the project to maximize profit.
Yep.
Now, accordingly, they're going to have to draft it pursuant to the statutes and laws that govern a development, meaning are the roads wide enough to allow emergency vehicles in and out. There is a litany of a checklist that you have to make sure everything's accounted for effectively. Yep. And ultimately what happens is it goes through the review process for whatever governmental agency that relates to, whether it's the county, the city, what have you. And they're going to come back with other changes that they want, okay? Ultimately, all those changes are an additional set of funds that the developer didn't count upon. What can that be? Additional buffering between your development and the next development. That could be trees, that could be fencing, that could be a litany of other things, whatever they come up with. Additional sidewalks. You're going to have to input a walkway or a
Sidewalk.
A sidewalk from one development to the other.
Yep.
A turn lane. I mean, I can give you examples
Yep.
where I've had clients, myself in my own developments where literally it's a warehouse project and the back of it goes, behind the building there's a railroad tracks. They wanted a sidewalk to go to a railroad track, which the sidewalk to nowhere, right?
I remember you telling me
But
about
that's
one,
an
I think.
additional, that could cost an extra $15,000. Okay, so
Yeah.
there's expenses on behalf from the developer that people don't see that are risk of doing business and the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
The upside could be tremendous, but you have to wait a long time to get there. Now you're saying 6 to 8 months. With COVID and the delays, that project could be a 2-year closing.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have 2 years where the seller's waiting to get paid. Developer can't really do much but spend money because
Yep.
all this is an expense to get these approvals. and
All
these
that due
permits.
diligence is expensive.
Right. You have to hire attorneys. You have to hire special people to get the zoning redone. You have to send out mailings to people that live within a certain, I think it's 300. I'm not sure.
Give
exactly.
notice of
Yeah.
the
You have to give notice to
changes.
people who live in the surrounding area. They have the right to input. Based on their input, sometimes they may be able to sway a governmental employee to add changes or make changes to the site plan, which again costs more funds.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, this issue comes up to you and I were discussing this off air. Ultimately, no one's guaranteed what can be put next to them when you buy a piece of property.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
If it complies with the zoning and it complies with the rules and regulations, you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
No one's guaranteed a view of anything.
Yep.
The only thing you're guaranteed a view of is an adjoining piece of water. So if water is abutting your property line, no one can block that right. Do you have a right to look over someone else's water? I don't really think so. Or someone else's property to see the water. So, unless you buy air rights over someone else's property, you don't have a right to prevent someone from building a high rise over your view. They can do that.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you get into riparian rights as well. The waterway, where's the center of the canal, or the canal, or the way that people are coming in, the ingress and egress. You get into riparian rights, so there's a lot to consider.
There's a lot to consider. I mean, the seller, from their perspective, they're going to wait, a year to 2 years in that situation to get paid. Now, two things can happen. If property values go down, they're fine because they're locked into the contract price. If property values go up, they're like, wow, we could have missed up, maybe I missed out on a couple of dollars. But there's risk involved on the other side, and that has to be accounted for also.
Yeah, and we saw that happen with the last kind of meltdown that happened. A lot of people had a lot of money extended. They had these bank loans. They had these pre-construction loans, maybe land loans, and they got overextended. The market turned, and then now they're left holding the bag. So now you start looking at bankruptcies and changing entity names, and it turns into a big mess whenever the market does change like
Right,
that.
and when you refer to holding the bag, that just simply means this. You have debt on that property,
Yep.
and no income coming in from that property because
Right.
you haven't been able to sell it, develop it, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
When the market went south, nobody wanted it, so now you couldn't get rid of that debt, and so you try to give that property back to the bank.
Yeah.
The bank says, fine, we'll take the property, but now the property's worth 40%
Yep.
of what we lent on it, and so now you owe me 60%, and that didn't go well.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking with attorney Frank Miranda here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He's a local real estate attorney right here in Tampa Bay. Got an office on Cypress Street. Brand new, beautiful office over there as well. FCMlaw.com can handle real estate closings, any types of disputes. And Frank, you're one of these attorneys that actually goes to the courthouse and you actually take things to suit, and you're our litigator.
Correct. I think I have 3 trials set in the next 75 days or so. I just actually got one continued because I had COVID. But yeah, one of them involves actually a deal with a builder and a developer that went south. So that's going to trial. So when it comes to, we were talking off air too about the developments and how you're having this influx of all this construction going on, and how does that ultimately affect the roadways, the sewer systems, the water supply.
Yes.
The alternative to that, though, if you don't do anything, is that you don't increase tax dollars.
Right.
But not increasing tax dollars, effectively what the local governments are facing is they're just be able to pay the existing bills without having improvements to those facilities. So hopefully, with the increased amount of taxes being paid by the new developments, there is an upgrade to the systems that quite honestly have been neglected for in some cases, 100 years, or these
Yeah.
pipes are old.
Right.
And so nothing gets fixed until it breaks.
Yeah.
And so if you are a business, you'd like to foresee the need for that redevelopment in the infrastructure and be proactive instead of reactive.
Right. Yeah, that's an important point to make is, this development, and it's always a trade-off, right? It's like pro-development, the other side is environmental, and then the other side is taxes. We got to raise and grow the tax base to pay for these services, the fire, the police, the water piping, the electrical, and that's where you see it in rich neighborhoods. For example, if you go over towards Palm Beaches or different areas, and even in Tampa Bay, you have underground utilities. They've taken the money and said, hey, let's put our telephone poles and all that electrical under the ground. So talk about the utilities and some of the implications. And
I don't have the answer to that question,
Yeah.
but I've always thought to myself, I said,
Yeah.
every time there's a major storm and we're losing all this electricity, why don't
Yeah.
they rebuild it underground?
right.
Why don't we just start little by little if you want to do it that way?
Yeah.
Because every time you put up a pole for your electrical wire, some point in time that's going to break in half.
Yep.
Why don't we just fix it forever now?
Yeah. Exactly.
There's got to be a reason. I don't know what the reason is. And It's
Yeah.
got to come down to money.
Yeah. Economies of scale. I bet. Yeah. Just having to scale it somehow.
Yeah, I fortunately live in one of those subdivisions where all the electricity's underground, and
Yeah.
we've, knock on wood, I've lived there 24 years. I've never lost power.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And luckily this past hurricane season we had a light one. It seemed like a light hurricane season, at least for Florida. I know some other
but,
states got hit.
How do you know
But-
what next year brings? Right?
I know.
None of
right.
us do.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk a bit about the potential. That I've seen a couple reports for this year. There might be an uptick in foreclosure activity. Some people that were getting government money, or some of the money that ran out. People that had loan modifications in place with certain lenders. They'd said, "Yeah, we'll give you a break on your payments for the next 6 months," but a lot of that stuff's going to come due, and that could lead to more foreclosure activity and more bank-owned properties hitting the market.
I agree with that. The difference between now and 2007, 2008, when we had a complete collapse of the banking industry, is that Tampa is the second largest growing city in the country. So you have all these people moving here,
Right.
which, on the flip side is a lot better than people moving out of here, because then you really can't support your infrastructure. But you have all these people moving into the city, which is going to keep prices, I think, at least stabilized. It may not go up as much as has been reported, as high as, I don't know, rents went up 24%, which is astonishing.
Rents are going crazy. It's
I don't know how
unbelievable.
people can even afford to rent. It's much cheaper to buy, even with the inflated prices.
Yeah.
My office is in an area where it's just absolutely booming.
Yep.
You're talking about rents for a studio apartment being close to $2,000.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're ever going to, I just can't say ever, I don't think we're going to see a collapse anytime soon in the Tampa Bay area, just
Right.
because of the volume of people moving into here.
Yeah.
And so I read an article recently in the paper whereby a couple decided to wait to see if the prices were going to go down. They waited 8 months and the prices went up, 10, 15%.
Yeah.
And so if you have the money now, and you find a property you like, I don't think you're going to lose money by buying now. It's not going to
Right.
go down in value just
Yeah,
because
I agree.
there's too many people coming here.
That's right. The wait and see approach is not going to work. It's ill advised. Let's put it that way. Yeah, so many people moving down from some of the lockdown states, cities with high crime, whatever the reasons why. And then you have the traditional, moving closer to the beach. I'm moving closer to family. You have all of those. We got every lot to offer here in Tampa Bay with sports teams, etc. But now the unprecedented thing that's really causing that wave is people moving for freedom. They're moving to come down and enjoy, of course, the sunshine, but also taxes. I think that's a big part of it too.
I think it's a combination of both. I think the last bit of when you're looking at the justice of scales, the last little ounce that tipped it more to us is I think people got really concerned about living on top of each other in these communities, in these buildings.
Yep.
They had very little outdoor space.
Yep.
And during COVID, when they got locked down, even if you got locked down in Florida, we were okay with, we got plenty outdoor space, go to your outdoor space. And that's a reprieve, because when you're talking about someone who lived and spent $3,000 for a one-bedroom apartment in New York City,
Yeah.
and they had one window, that got very depressing very quickly.
Exactly.
And then you have the spin-off of people being allowed to work from home.
Yep.
Now they're stuck in that environment. Well, you want to be stuck in that environment, or you want to come here and at the very least, you can go drive out to the beach and be by yourself, and what a different environment you're in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great lifestyle that we have here. Definitely blessed and favored in Florida. FCMlaw.com. People will find you on there. Where else would you like people to find you?
Yeah, our office phone number is 813-254-2637. My email, I'm happy to respond to questions in email, is frank@fcmlaw.com. And, happy to give you any kind of referral if I don't actually practice the type of law that you have a need for.
Yeah, that's perfect. I was thinking even for the show, it'd be great to talk to somebody, an immigration attorney, something along those lines, because I like to hit those niches. There's so many niches. We did an interview with a maritime law attorney a while back last year, and it's like, okay, well, a different game there, when it happens out in the seas. Completely different game,
different rules of procedure. The whole thing's different.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, Frank, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you coming in. Always a pleasure having a conversation here and diving deep into development today. So that's a pretty cool topic, especially this time.
It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot in this area for the next 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. No turning back.
Yeah,
you can't see it.
You can't. Yeah. But I appreciate you allowing me to come on the show again, and you have a great 2022.
Likewise. Thanks, buddy.
That's the first time I said that.
2022, man. It's here. And you got a great staff over at the office as well. It's always a pleasure working with Stephanie over there on the real estate deals, closings, and just a great team. So keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
All right, man. Take a quick break. When we come back, we got John Long in the house, United States Institute Against Human Trafficking. We're going to talk about what's affecting his nonprofit organization here in Tampa Bay. Of course, that southern border. You got trafficking coming over, drugs coming over. So what can we do to help? USIHT.org is the site. We'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. We are looking for real estate investors. We've got a new relationship bringing us a tremendous amount of off-market real estate investment opportunities. So text the word investor to our hotline, 813-750-0550. Off-market real estate investment opportunities. Text investor to 813-750-0550. Brandon Rhymes here, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, looking for real estate investors. Send us a text.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We just launched a real estate school, so you can get licensed in real estate for free. It's a pretty cool program. Keller Williams Realty launched in association with Kaplan, and it's a great opportunity for you maybe to have a side hustle, refer business into us. I'd love to talk to you about it. 813-917-1894. You can call or text us on the hotline, 917-1894. And I want to give a shout out to Ramin Kazami. Kazami. He is the owner of Heights Soft Pressure Washing, Soft Wash right here in Tampa Bay. Pressure washing company. Does a great job on our real estate properties. Ramin Kazami, a longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Heights Soft Wash, Pressure Washing right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, we got John Long in the house. Happy New Year to you, John.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Yes, sir. So United States Institute Against Human Trafficking, doing a lot of good in the community out there, man.
You know, we're really trying to make a dent
Yeah.
in what oftentimes is not something that we talk about, and that's human trafficking here in the United States. And
Yeah.
January is actually National Human Trafficking Month.
Is it? Okay.
And so it's been recognized by, I believe it's the last 20 years.
Wow.
That this is a month that we really want to draw attention to trafficking domestically and how we can fight that and where it's really happening and what it really looks like.
Yeah, it's one of those things you know, you're sitting around and it's like, hey, what do you want to talk about? Oh, let's talk about human trafficking. You know, it's like a positive. It's
We don't gather at Thanksgiving dinner and everybody talks about human trafficking stories, but we have to start working it into our narrative. And it's got to be something as a community that we're willing to talk about. You know, Frank talked about Tampa being the second largest growing country in the nation.
City in the nation.
The city in the nation.
Yeah.
And that draws more attention to trafficking. That brings more people into our communities.
That's right.
And it just Tampa was already a hot spot with all of the industries that are here in Tampa.
Right.
And our major sporting events, major conventions, things that go on. So this was already a hot spot. It was the 13th in the nation as far as trafficking.
Wow.
And so as we continue to grow, we expect that number to grow. So we want to raise awareness in our community and have people fight this as a grassroots movement.
Yeah, and you know, we got to talk about the southern border. I mean, it's unbelievable how it's continually, month after month, it's not being shut down, it's not being managed. It's, you know, thank God Governor Abbott has stepped in and done some things. What's your latest that you've heard from the border?
Yeah, it's the same chaos that we've talked about before. I know they're making it. There's some people making a trip down there today, actually, to visit and see what's really going on. And oftentimes, what I hear here is, well, that's not something we need to deal with because that's Texas. That's the other coast. But we know that those people make their way here.
Yeah,
they make their way to Tampa. They may be coming through ports, but a lot of them are coming through that border. And if there's no leadership, there's no accountability, people are kind of allowed to do whatever they want.
Yeah, and I've heard that the numbers on the fentanyl coming through is just unbelievable. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was like 100,000 pounds or something along those lines. And they said in that same report that it was enough to kill, I forgot how many people. I mean, it was just unbelievable, 3 billion people or something. Just a crazy number. The fentanyl that's coming across the border, they're slipping it into all types of recreational drugs, and they're even disguising it as prescription pills. So you got to be super careful out there.
Yeah, they're cutting it and they're working into the product, so the product goes farther.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the exact number, but fentanyl is the largest killer of 19-year-old to I think it was 40-year-olds in our nation right now. It's the largest killer of anything else that's going on in our country.
Because of recreation, or they think they're getting whatever type of recreational drug, cocaine, etc., and it's actually laced with that or has a large percentage.
They're making the pills look like a Xanax. They're making them look like painkillers.
Yeah, Oxycontin.
And so people that may be dabbling in that don't really know the product that they're getting.
Yeah.
And it only takes a little bit to kill you.
Right. Unbelievable. So human trafficking, you got drugs coming across the border. There's a lot of negative stuff, and it's like almost with every positive, like, you know, Tampa Bay being, you know, one of the largest places people are moving to. We're getting crime, we're getting drugs, and we're getting gang activity as well.
Sure. And that's an area where human trafficking is growing and will continue to grow because gangs are finding that they can sell people over and over again. You know, as we talked about the drugs are risky to transport. They're risky to make sometimes. And once you sell it, you got to go get more.
Yeah.
But when we talk about human trafficking, we're talking about men, women, children being sold on our streets. And oftentimes when we talk to survivors, they're being sold 10 to 15 times every day. So it's a renewable source, and so these gangs are using that as a way of making money.
Yeah, you know, as Christian men, we're told to be the lights of the earth and to spread the good news. So this is something that you should tell everybody about. If you're out there listening and, you know, thinking about this, share this podcast, share this, you know, wherever you're listening to this, you should share it. You should let people know. You should send it to a friend and say, hey, have you heard about this? Did you know that Tampa and Florida are the largest, number 3 in the nation? Florida's number 3, I believe. USIAHT.org, United States Institute Against Human Trafficking. John Long here in studio. More with John when we come back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Plus, we have our feel-good story of the day coming up as well. So stay with us. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram, Twitter, and Getter. We got our YouTube channel as well, Consumer Quarterback Show, Brandon Rhymes, PA as well. We'll be right back after the short break. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, Brandon, you all set? Okay. All right, Brandon, stand by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We'd love to help you win in your real estate deals. If you're buying, selling, or investing, we'd love to work with you. ConsumerQB.com is our website, and we like to feature our real estate listings. So if you're a seller, we can help you profit more and sell faster, utilizing our innovation with radio, TV, and internet marketing. We got a property here in Tampa Bay. We got 2 properties side by side on Nebraska Avenue. 4214 North Nebraska Avenue is a dry cleaner. The business is for sale. The real estate's for sale. Great opportunity to own real estate right here in Tampa Bay. Almost 2,500 square feet at 4214 North Nebraska Avenue right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Now, also adjacent to that property, another corner lot location, 4302 North Nebraska Avenue. You got a billboard on site. So you relocate your business. You got your own billboard built in, reaching those 40 to 50,000 vehicles a day passing by at 4302 North Nebraska Avenue. Billboard prop on the property, beautiful wood floors, spacious office building with a kitchen. Great opportunity. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, more with John Long here, United States Institute Against Human Trafficking. Continuing our conversation, the NFL, you've got a new partnership of sorts with the NFL. Talk about that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're working with the NFL and a couple other organizations just to raise awareness around the Super Bowl. We know anytime there's a major event, a Super Bowl, World Series, conventions, there's typically a larger crowd of individuals who are looking to pay for sex. They're looking to hire people. And so we are working with the NFL to raise awareness and really make sure that people that are attending the Super Bowl are aware that this is happening. The players are being involved as well. Frank Wright from the Colts is part of it as well, the head coach there. He's got an organization as well that fights trafficking. And so we kind of joined together to ensure we can raise awareness. It gives us a large platform. Yep. The Super Bowl is a major event, so we're part of that. The NFL experience will be part of that as well.
Very cool. And Frank Wright, he was the old backup to
he was in the Bills.
The Bills, yeah, Jim Kelly.
Yep, Jim Kelly.
Very cool. So that's awesome. So you got an organization, the Super Bowl. Where is the Super Bowl this year? Do you remember?
It is in L.A.
Is it out in L.A.?
I believe so, yes.
Well, that's probably a big city for trafficking.
Yeah, it's huge, and you'd be surprised there's not a lot going on in LA as far as awareness and resources for survivors. And so that's one of our goals as well, is to work with the community and make sure that there's resources.
Yeah, and you had mentioned before too, we had talked about how Sheriff J.D. Grudd out there in Polk County, he's always got the character, when he's on stage there. Chad Chronister here locally. We've had Chad on our show, the sheriff of Hillsborough County. Some of the challenges are when you find and you arrest these. What do they call them? Johns.
They call them Johns. Yeah.
So when you arrest these folks, the DA or some of the different challenges. Talk about that, because the witnesses are put on the spot and they have to look their accuser in the eye in the courtroom, and that's, to me, should be changed.
Yeah. When they do those stings and they advertise, we arrested 125 people who were paying for sex. If you follow those stories, not all those guys are actually being arrested for that. Their charges are reduced oftentimes, and that's because it's easier to charge them for that. Now, when somebody's recovered on the street for buying sex and there's actually a person that's involved, a woman or a child, oftentimes that guy, and they call them Johns, because that's just a name, but what we have to do is we got to start calling these guys what they are. They're buyers. They're typically raping these people. They're taking advantage of these people. And when those guys get arrested, they typically don't go to jail. Again, their charges are reduced. But that woman, if a prostitute is arrested, she 90% of the time will end up in jail.
Wow.
And I think when they arrest the Johns, it's somewhere around 15% of the time.
Wow.
Now, Tampa is above average. Tampa is doing a better job at prosecuting, ensuring that these buyers are receiving the consequences. We got a long ways to go, but Tampa is one of the leading cities in the nation.
Wow, unbelievable. So that's such a discrepancy there between the men and the females. By the way, we're talking with John Long. He's United States Institute Against Human Trafficking here locally. He works locally. It's got a great team. It's a national organization. The company just had celebrated last year its 5th 5-year gala, and my family, we went to that gala. It was a great event. Some really awesome people involved with your organization as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for going and supporting us and giving us a platform like this to come and share and raise awareness, because we know that's what we have to continue to do. We really when we want to fight the demand, we got to make sure the community is willing to have these conversations and talk about it. And so on our website, we have a training portal where people can go and receive just human trafficking 101 training. Because a lot of people don't know what it is. They don't know what it looks like. We often think of Hollywood and the movie Taken, people being abducted, but it happens in every city, and it often happens undercover. It's not this huge production. It's something that we have to be aware of and what to look for.
It's a sad situation. USIAHT.org is the site. And I think think about this as a new year. What are you going to do? We're kind of talking to our listeners here and our viewers. What are you going to do to be a force for good? That's one of the things we always talk about, right? Like, at the end of our lives, we're going to be judged. There's going to be, what can you do? Something as simple as just mentioning, hey, have you ever heard of this United States Institute Against Human Trafficking? I heard Brandon Rhymes talking with John Long on the show about it. And, something as simple as that, maybe introducing it to somebody, talking to someone at the school or someone at the sheriff's department or anybody in your sphere of influence, right? That would be a big change.
Absolutely, and that's the greatest way we fight this change is we start to talk within our sphere of influence. Everyone's talking about Antonio Brown dancing off the field, or we're talking about who's dating who in Hollywood, or we're talking about these silly little things that distract us from what's really going on. And we don't understand as our institute why the church isn't fired up about this, why more local communities aren't fired up about this. It's something we have to keep talking about, and we have to raise awareness.
Yeah, you hit on a great point there. Every year football season rolls around, I get asked to join, certain fantasy teams, picking players and stuff. And, and nothing against people that do that. I get it. It's fun. It's cool. You can interact with family. But, like you mentioned, though, we put a lot of time into our vacation plans or, those types of plans. But something as simple as these types of things, making time for this, making time for, and that's really the ultimate judge is what you do, right? Not what you say, but what you do. So if you could make time just to put in, a word or share a post, you retweet this, show show, or lots of ways you can get involved. But I like that you have on your site, you've got tutorials there where you can teach people, because a lot of times they don't even know the questions to ask. Let's say you're walking around the mall one day, right? And you see a girl on the side, and you're kind of looking like this guy is kind of looking at her, and you see him kind of arguing. How do you look at that situation, right?
Right. And oftentimes too, what we do is we always use the pronoun female. The woman is always the victim, but we have to remember that boys are the victim too. In fact, boys are raising victims of sex trafficking. They estimate somewhere around 36,000 boys every year within the United States are being sold for sex to U.S. citizens. Wow. And so we have to include them in that narrative too. Yeah. And you're right. It's a 30-minute commitment to watch a video, a training. We'll sit and we'll watch reality TV for hours, about things that don't really impact our lives or our community. Just 30 minutes watching a training could change and save somebody's life.
Yeah, it really could. And I think that's a big part of it. Is most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you really think it's male on female, but it can be both ways. And unfortunately, that kind of thing is hid even more today. Yeah, because we don't let boys be victims. Men should be men, and if they didn't want to do it, they would just run or fight. But that's not the reality. These boys, these kids are being trapped in this lifestyle. Even if they want to get out, they can't. And real quick, talk about your organization, because you have a home where you bring these kids to and you help them on their road to recovery. And then final thoughts to you, John.
Yeah, we operate one of the only safe houses for minor male victims of sex trafficking. Yeah. So in our nation, 36,000 boys are being trafficked every year. We have 5 beds in our home, and we're the only home that is serving this population. And so we have to raise, again, awareness to get more resources for these kids. And you don't have to be somebody who's very influential in the community. You don't have to be, college educated. Anyone can fight this through our trainings, and we walk alongside people to get involved in local government and how to get their counties or their communities to be trafficking-free zones. And all that information's on our website on how to become a trafficking-free zone. We challenge every church in Tampa to be a trafficking-free zone. And everything is free. All our resources are free and available to anybody who wants to have them.
I like it. All right, John Long, United States Institute Against Human Trafficking. You're a good man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you next time. All right, coming up, we got Nick Shriver decorating elves on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back after this short break. Plus, we have our feel-good story of the day. Drone pilot living with autism soars to new heights in aviation.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a member of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please give me a call for any of your mortgage needs. We do all sorts of loans. If you would like information on a mortgage, you can text me or call me at 727-647-8199. I will take care of all your mortgage needs. Go to my website at dianevance.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man, Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the Real Estate Quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. We are in a low inventory market, so any of our listeners are homeowners and would like a free comparable market analysis or a 2.5% listing, we will honor this for the first 3 listeners who call or text in
813-917-1894.
Free CMA and a 2.5% real estate listing. Check out consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. We always like to tell you something good here in our feel-good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, it's got a drone pilot living with autism soars to new heights in aviation. So interesting that the government now, they are requiring registering drones. You have to have an ID, much like a license plate. But we've got a local business related here in Tampa Bay. Darcy Rouhani always wanted to be a pilot, but due to sensory issues related to autism, she was never able to get in the cockpit, and that didn't stop her from flying in the way of a drone. She's quoted as saying, "So it was always a dream of mine, and this is kind of a way that I get to experience that, achieve the dream, Rouhani. It's probably safer. My mom is much happier." So flying a drone has never been enough. She wanted to make an impact in the aviation industry. She founded the company ROC Aviation Services, helping businesses with drones and the ever-evolving rules and regulations of the FAA. Companies that have fleets have to do land surveys, geo-mapping, and they have to gain design approvals, production approvals, application certification in order to move forward. So Darcy never looked at autism as a challenge, but more like an asset. And she's quoted as saying, "I have a form of spatial intelligence that allows me to visualize complex systems in mind," said Rouhani. And, well, this is my way that my autistic brain sees this, and I'm going to approach it like this, and that's just what makes perfect sense to me. There's our feel-good story of the day. We have Nick Shriver in the house, Decorating Elves. Welcome back in.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Hey, my pleasure. Happy New Year to you, and looking forward to a great 2022.
Well, I'm looking for a great 22 also. Been very busy here. Obviously everybody knows we do the holiday lighting. We do it to a very, very big extent, and we've been, we're on day 4 of taking it down. So been busy, but we're looking forward to, what's to come.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. So you've got the holidays are a big boost in your business in terms of busyness and installs, and now you're breaking down a lot of the sites.
So yeah, absolutely. We're getting everything down, getting everything picked up. We start, as the public goes out, they start going back to those malls. They show up this week and they know those big trees are gone, those wreaths are gone. Sometimes they don't even think about it. But, we're there behind the scenes at 6 a.m. in the morning pulling all that stuff down, and then we'll slowly start to work into, a lot of the private residences that we do. So, a lot of people leave them up through the 6th because, here in Pinellas County and in Pasco, the Epiphany is a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So a lot of people celebrate the Epiphany, which is coming up later in the week.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people that still celebrate through that, and they don't really consider the holiday season to be over until that is celebrated. So there's a lot of people that are still out there celebrating, still enjoying it. And then, as long as the Bucks keep winning, go Bucks. Some people just decide to keep that party going right up until, last year it was great. The party stayed on.
Nice.
So sometimes the lights stay on longer than you think they do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we got a good chance of continuing to win here.
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah, we'll see. A lot of it depends on that home field advantage, but I'm not sure we're going to get that this year. But
I am not an expert. I'm just a spectator.
There you go. Yeah, I got to go to a couple good games this year, so it was neat. It was fun. But so we're talking with Nick Shriver here. Decorating Elves is his company, decoratingelves.com. So local contractor, local business, and a contractor here in Tampa Bay, helping with those holiday lights. But also you have a year-round solution as well for real estate properties.
Yeah, so we actually have multiple year-round solutions, and one of the solutions we haven't really talked a lot about is this the brand that we call, it's called Oelo, O-E-L-O, and it's what the industry calls permanent holiday lighting, or called year-round holiday lighting. And so that's a product that gets hung on the house, usually done on the trim lines, outline the roof lines. And it is designed and meant to be left up year-round. It actually comes with a 5-year manufacturer warranty. And so it's a pretty cool product. It's app-controlled. It is a few dollars more than what your average holiday lighting thing would be. But if you go through the life cycle on year 3, you're basically averaging your dollar out. Based on what you would spend with us to hang them every season. Right. So you get that value. You start to get that value back. Plus, it's a very high quality of product that you can use throughout the season. So it is something that you'll find on our website. It's something we're starting to use more of. And that we do have that availability too. So we just did actually a huge project we finished in downtown Bradenton that we have programmed on one of their downtown buildings. And you'll be seeing, however they decide to use that, you'll be seeing that in that market. And it's a really, really cool product. So that's something that is an alternative to what people have out there available. Because really, lighting makes people feel good. It really makes it look good. It makes them happy about being home or happy about being out. Or when they go out to entertainment districts, it makes them happy about all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they can really, really enjoy that.
Well, that picture that we just had up, by the way, you can watch our TV show version streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, also Apple, Amazon, Roku. But that one's a cool picture because you've got lighting, and it looks like it's different color lighting. Is that right?
Yeah. So that one actually right there is a great combination of landscape lighting that's permanent and then holiday lighting that's seasonal, and how we used both of those to come up with that green look. So that's where we take the landscape lighting, we create that green hue, we use the regular white lighting on the specific accents. So color is really, really becoming very, very popular, and it is becoming more and more popular. And that's in the landscape lighting category or the outdoor lighting category, where, you get into your private residence, you get into your residential stuff, you get into, the real estate, and you start really making properties look amazing. You start making them look beautiful.
Yeah.
We like to do what we call the postcard picture, especially with a residential property in the front of the house, where and this is the time of the year where you're getting home at 6 o'clock and it's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, we all do. But those that have really amazing lighting, as soon as you turn that corner and you get a peek on your house, it makes you feel good.
Yeah, it does.
There is that segment where you just go, oh man, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, by the way, I live there.
Yeah, that's right.
I make that mistake all the time. I'm like, I pinch myself. I still can't believe I live here because it's beautiful.
That's right.
And I'm sure you do too, because you have it's beautiful.
Thanks.
So when you have those amazingly beautiful properties and those great homes, and everybody has a beautiful house to a certain degree, when you add that accent lighting at night, you really add that extra value, that extra dynamic. And if you're just doing a little bit of lighting, we recommend that you do it right by the front door.
Yeah.
So just a little bit, as you come home, you do the columns on the left or the right. You do something that makes the front door, that makes that entry look more welcoming.
Right.
Then you're really, really going to enjoy that. So we've got some great photos you guys are putting up there. That one actually has some history.
That house?
Yeah. That's
cool.
Former Bucks coach Rich McKay's house.
Oh, okay.
From the original Bucks, right?
Cool. That's an interesting look. I like that roof line. It's just a different design with that roof.
And that was another former coach's house. And I'm not going to get into too much detail because it's not really my business to share where everybody is. But we get to see some really cool people too.
Yeah.
There's some really amazing, side note, but amazing people to live in this community.
Yeah.
It is cool. There's
It really
a lot
is.
of really cool people that live in Tampa that call Tampa home, St. Pete, Clearwater. And it's a very eclectic group.
Yep.
And some really, really cool individuals out there.
Some innovators and more people moving
Absolutely.
to the area too.
I mean, there's some amazing CEOs, amazing entertainers, amazing sports and athletes.
Yep.
And then there's guys like you and me, that are just mixing it up with the rest of them.
Yeah, doing what we can do, get our piece of the pie,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, just living it and enjoying it.
That's right. We're talking with Nick Shriver here, decoratingelves.com, decoratingelves.com. And Nick, let's touch on those 5 areas that you talk about so often. So you got the different, safety, the usability, all those different areas. Let's go through those.
So you have one, you have beautification, right? And that's just taking a property that's already beautiful and accenting those key features. So,
right.
Whether it's architecture features or a really gorgeous landscape, it's really making something that is already beautiful and accenting it. And some of that trick too is to just leave something that's not beautiful dark, right? So you have beautification, right? One of the next things you have would be safety. And safety is not just like safety from the outside, but making sure that you can transverse through the property in a safe manner. So highlighting steps, highlighting grade changes, highlighting different spatial changes.
Yep.
Make it so easy so you can get from one space to the next very safely.
Right.
The next one is security. So security is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because security is the sense of security as well as individual security. So in deterring people that shouldn't be on the property, deterring people from entering the property, as well as when you look out through your yard or look out through your property, you feel secure so that you can see through it. All right, usability is another one. So usability is the ability to get out and use that property, use that outdoor kitchen, use that pool area, use that garden, use that yard at night, and especially when it's 6 o'clock, when we're getting home, it's dark, we're not going to bed till 10, 11, 12, some people later. You still have all those hours to use that outdoor property. And right now it's nice. The weather's great.
Yeah.
So have it lit up and make it usable and enjoy it.
Right on.
Right. And then the last thing is value. So you increase the value, especially if you were to resell, by creating that first impression. Right. So you're increasing the value through the aesthetics by adding something that has a long-term value, and then that totally adds and increases the resale. So those are your five main benefits that we talk about when we're meeting with people that you really get benefits from in the outdoor lighting category.
Yeah, I love it. That affordability. It's an affordable product, but then also the appreciation that you're going to see on your real estate. It's just that added dimension that could set yourself apart if you are looking to sell your property from that other competitor. There's a lot of reasons why you want to talk to Nick Shriver, decoratingelves.com. Got about 30 seconds left, my friend. How can folks find you?
Yeah, so you can find us at www.decoratingelves.com. So you can find us there, or you can call us at 1-800-MYLIGHTS, MYLITS, 1-800-MYLIGHTS.
That's easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Make it easy for everyone. And, we hope to hear from everybody. It's a new year. It's a good time to get started on new projects. And especially while it's dark, it's a great time to, expand the usability of your property and enjoy it when you come home at night.
Yeah.
And we're ready. We have an open calendar. We've cleared the calendar, so we're ready to go. There's no more backlogs. We've got all the supply chain stuff sorted out, and we're ready to roll.
Good deal. Awesome, man. Always a pleasure having you on the show. Thanks for coming in.
All right, Brandon, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, we had another great show. John Long, United States Institute Against Human Trafficking, Frank Charles Miranda, FCM Law, and, of course, Nick Shriver, Decorating Elves. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Make sure you stop by and check out consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.